Manchester United missed the chance to go to within 6 points of the league leaders Arsenal ahead of their match-up this Sunday. But for Crystal Palace, it was a point earned at Selhurst Park. Here's Wilfred Zaha and Will Hughes with Jeff Shreves.
Will, was that a moment of absolute magic that rescued a really precious point for Palace?
I think it was, yeah. We've been going through a difficult period of late, and sometimes you need a bit of magic like that from those sorts of players. We've got plenty of it in the team. Elise, Wilf, Ebbs. We've got individual talent, so I think it was a good point in the end.
Say magic, Wilf. How good was it?
It was amazing. Obviously, we know we've got the talent in the team, and one thing that the gaffers cracked on about is just contesting the games, and the talent just shows through in the end. Like today, managed to get a point.
You think that's what you added tonight? The grit, the determination, never giving up, no matter how deep into injury time.
Yeah, I think that's what the team needs. That was the difference today. Just never say die attitude, and every 50-50 going in it 100%. And obviously we got what we deserved. We didn't even won it at the end.
Do you think you were through then? I'm afraid Aaron caught up with you.
Any other player, as I'm running through, I looked back. I had a little look back and I thought, oh my God, it's Aaron. He's the only one that can do the scoop tackle. So yeah, it was a great tackle. I can't say anything about it.
Maybe that's the mark of the evening, that he's disappointed with a point.
Yeah, in the end, it's fine margins, isn't it? But like Will said, we know we've got the talent in the squad, but of late it's doing the basics and winning your duels and contesting, and I think we did a lot of that tonight, and sometimes we get the rub of the green and 1-1 will take it.
But a point against the most informed team in the Premier League, what else does it give you more than the actual point itself?
Hopefully a bit of momentum and belief, because like you said, of late they're bang on form. Their managers changed their fortunes around this season, and they're a top team, so to go toe-to-toe with them and not be gutted with a point but deserved a point in the end is a good feeling.
Do you need to build on this, Wilf, particularly as well at home?
Yeah, 100%. I think that performance today, the fans deserve that. And yeah, I'm buzzing with the lads really. Like, we all worked so hard today. Obviously we're happy with the point, and it just gives us confidence going into the next games.
Also as well, you set out the start of the season very well, picked up a lot of points. You've got to be careful you don't get reeled back into the pack.
Yeah, it's about consistency. You can't get ahead of yourself, and I think on occasions this season we've not been complacent, but we've gone into games thinking we've got a bit of a right to win and not done the basics right, and I think you see tonight, when you do the basics right, you've got the talent that will shine through, so hopefully that's a mark for future games.
Great stuff, well done guys.
Cheers, Jeff.
Thank you.
Jubilant scenes at Selhurst Park from the Crystal Palace players, who were very sort of low-key about all of this. It's a point earned at home, and they'll be delighted with the improvement in that. But that goal at the end from Michael Elise to earn them a point was something special, wasn't it?
Well, I think it deserved a celebration, Kelly. At least that was the most low-key moment of the whole game, because this free kick is absolutely sumptuous. It's brilliant. I mean, to get it up and over the wall and then just kiss off the bar and in. And in all fairness, De Gea has been unstoppable all night, but it's something else, isn't it, Jamie?
Oh, it's the best free kick of the season. We've seen James Ward-Prowse, he's got a catalogue of these throughout the season and his career. That is a stroke of genius. It really is. I just don't understand why he's not celebrated. I mean, I scored a few free kicks. My shirt was off the lot. I was doing love bites, everything.
Especially if they hit the bar.
That is as good as it gets. And I'm sure deep down inside he's buzzing. But what a free kick. What a moment for them. And I thought from Palace's point of view, they produced a good performance for their manager. They needed it. But from Man United's point of view, it just couldn't have gone any worse. We spoke before the game about Casemiro. He's got to, obviously don't get a yellow card, don't get booked, don't get in any real confrontations. It's so important that they need him on Sunday. He gets booked on the 80th minute, and it was as if from that moment it completely took the steam out of Manchester United. It affected them so much they knew that their talisman, their most important player in that defensive role, had gone. It was a bit of a moment of madness. You can see he was furious with his teammate Bruno Fernandes, who jumps out of a challenge, and that ends up why he gets booked.
So
I mean, it could have been a red card. I mean, it's a scandalous challenge.
Huge game against Arsenal.
I mean, I could just see Mikel Arteta, when that happened, dancing around his living room, because that is so important. They've got no one that can do what he does in the team.
When you say could have been a red, the pace of it isn't there. That's why
it's a reckless
it's a
challenge.
Yellow, but
it's reckless.
I mean, his first contact on Wilfred's eye is on his knee, so it's a really high challenge. But he didn't need to make the challenge because Varane was covering, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I personally think we can see the confrontation here between him and Fernandes. And it was frustration, the frustration that his lack of awareness getting closed down, a bad pass out to Fernandes. Fernandes, a weak challenge at best, wasn't it? And then when Wilfred goes past him, I think it was just frustration. He takes him down, and then all of a sudden he realises he's made a mistake, and all his teammates as well, didn't they?
And I think so, as a player in that position, all his life, all his career, he's made those tackles. He's earned, you know, he knows he's got to get booked sometimes, and it was just instinct. It's what he's done. He didn't know what else to do. He can't help himself. He's thinking of the team. Of course, he doesn't want to make this challenge because he knows the consequences are so big, not just for him, but also for the team. But he's furious there with his player, and now he thinks, I've got Wilfred Zaha, I've just got to bring him down because I don't want the other team to score. It's just that...
And it's this look, isn't it? After the challenge is made, the first eye contact he makes is with Fernandes in disappointment, I think.
Oh, yeah.
As in, why are you not putting your boot in for me? Why are you not trying a little bit harder? I know it was a bad pass,
There's the look
but look
there.
what you've left me.
There you go. Look at that look. Looks could kill.
A shrug of the shoulders and...
It felt they just couldn't get over it. It seemed to affect them so much because they knew they'd lost their best player, and then obviously the goal compounds it. And they really should have been away as well. They had, we both agree on the penalty as well.
Yeah, were you surprised he was still on the field after 80 minutes?
I think he's so important. I don't think, as a manager, he'd gone 80 minutes. You and I said, God, they've had a result here. It's gone so well for them. They're winning 1-0. He hasn't got booked, and then within a minute he gets booked. I think you have to take that chance with certain players because you'd be kicking yourself if you took him off. Fred comes on and scores. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It was a really difficult situation for the manager.
Fred was waiting to come on, but we understand that was always for Eriksen, even though that was subsequently what happened.
You kept him on and they still scored. So it's one of that. It's a really difficult one for the manager, and it's just pure instinct, and it's cost them so dearly because not only the goal, and they obviously haven't got their most important player for the game of the weekend.
And like you said, it could have all turned on that penalty decision where Manchester United could have gone 2-0 up in the game, and you think that might well have been that. Do you think it was a penalty?
I think it is a penalty, yeah. We've seen it back a number of times, and it's a real difficult one, but this is the best angle, and for me, McTominay gets the ball, he takes it away from Richards. Richards dangles a foot, and I don't think he touches the ball, and for me, that is a penalty. And why the referee hasn't gone over to the monitor to make his own decision on this, I'm not sure.
I couldn't agree more, Glenn. He's chopped it away from his right foot. It's a lovely touch. You can tell by the reaction of McTominay as well. What I don't understand sometimes there'll be something that's quite innocuous and VAR will look at it for 5-10 minutes, but something that is actually so clear and obvious and so vitally important for a team, why they just didn't spend a little bit more time? There's other things that they don't.
There's complaints about VAR if the referees, whether it's in Stockley Park or on the field, spend too long looking at it. They're trying to get a quick decision made. And the bar to overturn the decision on the pitch, which is no penalty, is very, very high. Do you think, and I know you're both saying you would have given the penalty if you'd seen it at the time, do you think there's enough there to then overturn the referee's decision?
Personally, I think it's clear enough. It's a lovely bit of skill from McTominay. He just deceives him. You can see he gets that right foot there. He's waiting for the challenge, just nicks it away from him. He definitely doesn't get a touch, and then there's the foul. He draws the foul. You can see the reaction of the... I'm a big... players will always try to get an edge, but you can see straight away he knows it's a foul. He's got there ahead of him. He didn't do a lot wrong, Chris Richards, all game. That was the only mistake he really made. But he got away with it.
You say that players do that, but I don't think McTominay is that type to go into the box and go down. It's not in his nature, is it? I honestly think he touched the ball, he gets the contact, and I think it was a penalty.
And that is one, just to spend a minute, go and look at the screen and see what it's... Because that was 2-0, game over. And that's what's cost them.
It's cost them, and yet it started so well for them with Bruno Fernandes putting Manchester United ahead, and they fought for this goal in the first half. Palace did not make it easy for them.
No, Eduardo had a good chance as well just beforehand, and it was a really important moment. Lovely bit of play by Eriksen and Marcus Rashford. Brilliant finish. From Crystal Palace's point of view, they'll obviously be disappointed here because Decore, who's marking Eriksen, has just got to do his job. You can see there that he points, he's going, I've got to follow the runner. And then Will Hughes tries to make amends for him, and then he leaves Bruno Fernandes at the edge of the box, and it's a big moment. I think sometimes you just got to follow your runners, and that's what they get costs them, Glenn, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And when Manchester United score in the 43rd minute, just before half-time, it's the boost you want. You go in, you're buzzing in the dressing room, the manager's happy. I expect them to manage the game better in the second half. I really do.
What do you think? In what respect you think he could have made changes more or done something earlier?
Yeah, personally, I think Manchester United, in the vein of form they're in, they're 1-0 up away from home. I feel as though they've got to manage it better. They've got to attack the game, take the game to Palace and beat them. I mean, we've seen them do it over and over again so many times this season.
Like what Tottenham did last week.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. They just seemed a little bit cautious, if anything. And I don't know if that was all to do with Casemiro and not wanting to leave him in the middle of the field sort of vulnerable.
Sometimes that's the pressure when you're going for a title. All of a sudden, people are talking about them the last few days, the title contenders, and it affects them. But it is also
the derby
when you
and the Arsenal game as well.
But you can also look at it and go, the goal is so special. You know, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up when you get beaten by something like that.
Patrick, I'm sure it's very welcome, that point. How deserved was it, do you feel?
I think we deserved the points. It was really challenging against a really good side. The technical ability to move the ball around, we find it really difficult to close them down, to put pressure on the ball, but we managed to stay into the game, and in the last 15 minutes we started to put a little bit more pressure on them. We managed to win free kicks, we managed to win second balls, and Michael scored that free kick, and I'm really pleased with the players because it was tough, we worked hard, and at the end we get awarded. You
said to us before the game tonight, I want to see desire. Is that exactly what you saw?
Yes, I saw organisation, I saw really good team spirit, communication on the field, because at times we were running quite a lot behind the ball, and we keep our discipline and our organisation, and I think that helped us to stay into the game. We didn't leave too much space in between the line. We were well disciplined, and at the end we scored that goal.
And if it wasn't for a superb save from David De Gea in the first half, would you have been ahead, courtesy of a magnificent goal?
Yeah, I think we had as well the Wilfried run at the end. If he was a different player, he will not going to catch him. But I'm pleased because that game was really tough against a really good side. We needed, of course, at time the luck to stay into the game, but that luck we provoke it.
Do you think the players tonight very much took to heart what you had said about, look, you've got the talent, it's the other side of the game we need as well?
Yeah, but this is a process that we have to put in place, and the process taking time. And of course, people waiting for us to win games because of the talent that we have. But the talent is not going to be enough. So there is a process in place to improve the individual quality, to allow ourselves to be more competitive. And the process sometimes taking longer than what people think. But against Chelsea, we show character, we show quality, and I think today as well. So the team will still have to grow, to believe in what we can do. But it was important not to lose today.
How much does that relieve the pressure when you've lost your previous two games and you've been patchy at home as well? A point against a team who are in excellent form. How much so?
Yeah, it was important. It was important to get the result. We did it in a difficult way, but we managed to show resilience and to get back into the game, to score. And it was important to stop the bleed. We were unlucky at times, but today we fight hard and we get what we deserve, and I'm really, really pleased for the players.
Well done, Patrick.
Thank you.
Patrick Vieira thought his side deserved that point against Manchester United, and it is, as Jeff was asking him there, a team against a team who are in such fantastic form. Palace stay in 12th place. They're 8 points off the bottom three. They're exactly halfway through their season. How important was it that they managed to get something from that game tonight?
I think it was really important because they were just starting to slip away. They're on a run of really bad results, and just to get that foothold and steady that ship, and against such a good side like Manchester United in the last minute, I think it gave him a little bit of belief. And like you said there, they're going to grow. He's happy with the character they showed. But one thing I was really happy with is the way that Hughes played. I think adding him into that midfield just made them a bit more solid, didn't it? A bit harder to beat.
He's got a great football brain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Understands the game, keeps the ball, makes the game easy. And I thought, you know, like you said a minute ago about Decore as well, it was a little bit what Roy Hodgson used to do, play two defensive midfield players, but I think it worked for them tonight. And sometimes you've got to be a bit more defensive.
But then that allows your forward players to go out and create with a bit more of a solid base, doesn't it? A solid foundation, and they can go and do their bit up front, and they will always create chances.
Yeah.
And it's also about the teams they've got coming up as well. When you talk about them ending that run of 4 defeats in their previous 5 games, they've got Newcastle, Manchester United again in the league, Brighton and Brentford still to come. So it's tough games against teams in the top half of the table.
Yeah, when you were starting to look at that fixture list, I think they don't play anyone under them until the 1st of April. So all of a sudden, it's becoming more and more daunting. The worse and worse the results get. The longer you go without getting anything positive in a game, you're looking at fixture list, you're thinking, where's it coming from? And you probably wouldn't have thought it would come tonight, but that was a huge point for Crystal Palace.
A huge point for Crystal Palace and 2 huge points dropped for Manchester United. Let's hear what Erik Ten Hag made of it with Jeff Shreves.
Erik, what's your analysis of the game and the result?
I think we controlled the game. We scored a good goal first half. I would say it was a top performance, but it was okay. It was in control. Great save. That was, I think, the only chance Crystal Palace produced. And I think we had a couple of good opportunities and we scored a great goal. And the second half, I think, was the same. We had control of the game. But I think we have to invest more for the second. If you then score 2-0, then game is over. And now you get hammered with an unlucky moment in the end.
How much do you feel that it slipped away from you? It was there for the taking, all 3 points.
Yeah, clear. Hey, if you concede a goal 2 minutes or 1 minute beforehand, then it's difficult to react anymore. Although we had the chance to score the 2-1 with Casemiro, but yeah, that's what it is. And we have to take the lesson, invest more for the second goal.
Casemiro had a bad night, of course, because he picked up that booking as well. What was your view on the booking? Do you think that was because of the type of player he was and the situation? It was just instinctive for him to do that, or should he have known better?
I think it's what you say, it's instinctive. He went for the ball. I think he missed the ball, but it's quite clear it was also a situation of our right side what could have been a dangerous situation. So yeah, he wants to stop it. And that was his reaction, quite clear. But as I said, we have to invest more for the second goal, and then you don't come in such situations.
Were you about to take him off anyway? And also, how big a miss will he be against Arsenal?
Last time we beat Arsenal without Casemiro, and so this time we have to do the same.
What did you make of Wout Weghorst's performance this evening, and how he fitted in, and how his teammates fitted in alongside him?
I think he did quite well. I think, of course, he has to make adjustments to his game, to our game. He doesn't know our way of play, so it was a really short briefing to bring him in. Less training, so no training, no games. So first time, a couple of days here, and I think he did quite well in all the elements of football.
How much is your job now as the coach to lift everybody that the winning run is over?
It happened. You can't change this anymore. And just sat in the dressing room and we're looking forward and get energy. Look to Arsenal, and we will make a proper plan. And players have to make sure they are ready for that game, because a top game, and it's fantastic to play such games. So we are looking forward, and we will have convincement to bring a good performance there and to win the game.
Thanks, Erik.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
The preparations for that game against Arsenal just a little bit more significance given those points dropped by Manchester United in the game against Crystal Palace tonight. But they're going to have to do it without Casemiro. How much harder does that make their job on Sunday, Jamie?
I said before the game, if he were to be booked and to miss that game, he's so important. And it looks, they'll have to bring in either Fred or Scott McTominay. And you look at Arsenal at the moment with Odegaard, Xhaka, Partey, that midfield is functioning so well. I just can only see really it benefiting Arsenal in such a huge way. They've got so much confidence right now. It makes them red-hot favourites. I think he's one of the most important players, not just in the Premier League. Certain teams function so well when they have certain individuals, and that's what he offers them. He senses danger, and they're going to miss him so much because of what he brings to the team. And for Arsenal, it's exactly what they wanted to see today, you know, and it's big news for them.
We saw the faces on the Manchester United players when Casemiro picked up that 5th booking of the season. That means he will miss that game. You see how the Manchester United players react to conceding that late goal against Crystal Palace. How much harder is it for them to start to focus on a big game ahead at the weekend and put this one behind them?
Do you know what? I think it's the perfect opportunity to bounce back. That they've created a momentum. This would have been their 10. I think they won 9 on the spin, which I don't think anyone really seen coming, especially after the start of the season. So it's about getting back out there, and who better to do again than against Arsenal, who are top of the pile, and also they've beat them already this season.
What do you think? Manchester United still in the mix for the title?
No, I don't. I don't really believe it before the game. I still think they've got so much to do. But the progression that they've made has been astounding. The job that he's done, the culture at the club's completely turned on its head, and they look like a real force again. And I'm sure coming transfer windows are only going to get better and better. The title, I think it's just a little bit too far. They've had too much to do from the poor start they've had. But I think it's just important they keep this momentum up. They've got full of confidence. Marcus Rashford right now looks like he can score in every game. And Fernandes. I mean, there's no reason why they can't go to Arsenal and get a result, but it just makes it so much more difficult without Casemiro.
And the other thing, of course, as well, is that Manchester City play against Tottenham tomorrow. If they get the win, then they pull ahead of Manchester United, or pull 3 points away from Manchester United again. So it starts to look like there's an extra team for them to overcome in terms of getting to the top spot.
Yeah, it does. That's a big if, I think, Kelly, 24 hours before the kick-off. But for me, we were all talking about Manchester United in a title race with Arsenal, and that was if everything happened in the right way for them. For me, a top 4 finish for Manchester United is them getting back on track and Ten Hag making positive strides at the football club.
And having said that, that Casemiro is going to be a huge miss, that it gives Arsenal this huge advantage in midfield, there's still a lot of talent in that Manchester United side. This game is by no means a foregone conclusion on Sunday.
It's going to be a great game. It just actually, from a neutral's point of view, just wanted to see the best players out there. Partey against Casemiro, or Casemiro up against Odegaard would have been perfect. But it's not to be. They're going to have to find a different way of playing. Maybe play with 2 defensive midfield players and make yourself as difficult as you can. And that's what the good managers earn the money for. So it'd be interesting to see what his tactics are without Casemiro.